On today's episode, we sit down with the host of the 2010 MTV Europe Music Awards, Eva Longoria. Later, I reveal some personal information about my financial situation. Spoiler alert, it's fine. If 9 more people follow me on Twitter, my name will be added back to my high school's Wikipedia page. This show is a weapon of mass destruction. For the blues, it's time for Famous Podcast. Famous Podcast. It's a famous podcast. It's a very, very famous podcast. It's like music to my ears. Welcome to Famous Podcast, where each guest is more famous than the last. I'm your host, Jean-Luc Bouchard, aka the Sweetheart Prince of New York. We have an amazing show today with an amazing celebrity guest, the one and only Eva Longoria. As her gracious host, I would love to offer Eva caviar, champagne, a chair with a back, and all the other luxuries afforded to a star of her magnitude. But unfortunately, Famous Podcast is in a bit of a transitional phase today. While we wait to be approved for new studio space, we've had to make temporary accommodations in the most quiet, most free place I could find within walking distance of my apartment. I'm talking, of course, about the Brooklyn Public Library. Incredibly, the Brooklyn Library has a free recording room available to anyone with a library card. But I refused to give my information to the government, so, instead, we had to sneak into the Adult Education Center and commandeer an empty conference room. So we should be fine up until the next class comes in. Debbie, when's the next class? Oh, really? Oh man, alright, let's make these 10 minutes count, alright? Alright folks, we're getting this show off the road. And before we dive into our interview with Eva Longoria, I'm excited to introduce a brand new personal finance segment to Famous Podcast intended to directly compete with those entrepreneurial wannabes over at NPR. Get ready for Hustlehead. I'm a little hustle boy, bustin' the bank is my joy. I'm a little hustle girl, rustling side gigs round the world. Call me hustle knees or Scrooge, I only have my soul to lose. Scraping by until I'm dead, shaping up to be a hustle head. No escape, I'm a hustle head. Welcome to Hustlehead, the personal finance and side hustle segment for those of us who work several jobs because we love the thrill of the game and love staying alive. Any regular consumer of popular media knows that I generate wealth through my celebrity and fame. But fans of the podcast also know that I make rent by giving tarot card readings down by the JetBlue terminal at JFK Airport. People tip what they feel is appropriate, and then I haggle for more. And in that way, I strike a healthy balance between needs and wants. But lately, I've found my fiscal demands reaching something of a critical mass. It turns out that I've been misreading the period placement on my student loan minimum monthly payments, and I am in a bit of hot water with Uncle Sam and his bloodthirsty debt collection officers. So I'm in need of what my accountant calls emergency jail-avoiding money. My boyfriend Sammy suggested hundreds of times that I find a more stable office job, but I've tried that before and cannot handle being laughed at again. So I've decided to embrace that hustle lifestyle and start my own business so I can become rich very quickly. And since every successful company finds a gap in the market and fills it with a quality product, I am humbled to admit without any fanfare that I am a natural business genius who has discovered one hell of a gap. There has been an unavoidable trend in the past few years of rich young jerks switching from soda, the sweet drink we all love, to unsweetened flavored seltzer, the crappy waste of money we all pretend to enjoy. Unsweetened versions of drinks are all the rage, so I thought, hey, why not extend that unexplainable phenomenon to one of America's most popular food products? And so, I am delighted to announce the launch of General Jean-Luc's home-style unsweetened taffy. All the fruity tastes you love, but without an ounce of sweetness, you disgusting weirdos. If you're like me, you're eating taffy once, twice, even 3 times per meal, but you're also getting very sick and weak from all the sugar. Well, now you can soothe your insatiable need for taffy without sacrificing the strength of your bones. And if you're something of a foodie like moi, check out some of General Jean-Luc's outside-the-box taffy flavors, like jackfruit, parsley, and focaccia. If you'd like to buy some of my very interesting taffy for yourself, please tweet an order using the hashtag YesTaffyPlease. And if you don't want any taffy to be sent to your house and your debit card charged, please tweet an anti-order with the hashtag NoTaffyForMe, but thank you. But enough talk about sweets. It's time for some sweet talk with our incredible guest, Eva Longoria. Eva, welcome to the podcast. So tell me, are you working on any exciting new projects? Achoo! Oh, bless you. So anyway, what's new in La La Land? Achoo! Gesundheit. Achoo! Gesundheit. Oh my gosh. Debbie, I think Eva might be allergic to book dust. Achoo! Debbie, can you run and grab her some Benadryl? Thanks, Debbie. And don't worry, Eva, we'll get you microphone ready in a jiffy. Achoo! I'll buy you some time by leading us straight into today's listener question. Are you overwhelmed and overloaded, devoid of stronger stuff? Life is tough, meaning it's too much, but my advice is always just enough. That's right. If you're shouldering the crushing weight of existence and looking for advice, send me your questions and I might just answer them on the show. Today's listener question comes from Dave in Brooklyn.
Hey, famous podcast. I have a sweet cat, but she keeps on biting my armpits. How do I get my cat to not bite my armpits? Thanks.
One of the easiest questions I've ever received, Dave. It's immediately clear what's going on here. So here's my advice. In the key of A minor. Marie Antoinette caused a war when she said, go eat cake 'cause you're dumb and poor. They decided that Marie was unfit. Mess with food and you're gonna get bit. Now your cat is biting your armpit. Because of the meals you must feed it. Yeah, you feed your cat human flesh. Admit it, come on, I won't even be mad. Now it wants more flesh super bad. Once you eat flesh, it's hard to go back. So your armpit became its favorite snack. I don't know if you found a corpse down by the river or stole a hearse or robbed a morgue or something worse. And by something worse, of course, I mean murder. But you're living with the consequences now. Trained your cat to want to disembowel, to stop your death from being hastier. Feed your cat something even tastier, like General Jean-Luc's unsweetened taffy. Buy my taffy, please buy my taffy. You've reached the end of your wits, so buy my taffy, save your pits. That's right, Dave. This is just one long continuation of the Hustlehead segment the entire time. And that's what we in the ad biz like to call Inception. Remember, if you have a question you want me to answer, record a voice memo and send it in to askfamouspodcast@gmail.com. Feel free to leave your name, city, or preferred pronouns if you want a shout out. Whew. Boy, after reading all that sleek copy, I guess you should call me Don Diaper. No, wait, that's a typo. That's supposed to say Don Draper. God damn it. Anyway, it's time for an ad. Time for an ad, so give me a beat. Yes, it's time for an ad, 'cause I need to eat. Oh, it's time for an ad to pay for the show. Yes, it's time for an ad, 'cause I need the dough. Today's episode of Famous Podcast is sponsored by Simon. Do you know a man named Simon? Did you go to college with Simon? Or work with Simon? Is Simon the roommate of your friend? Maybe Simon is in the room with you right now, just lurking. Are you walking around outside? That might be Simon across the street, pretending to look at his phone. Simon paid me for this ad in rare coins, and then he handed me a Kindle Fire containing the words I'm reading right now. Yeah, even these words. Simon wears graphic t-shirts from Target, and he once told you you look tired. Simon doesn't like spicy food. He doesn't like movies about horses. He always wants you to know how much sleep he got last night. Simon knew about the blockchain before anyone else in your life. If you would like to know more about Simon, well, he's waiting for you to ask. He's always been waiting, and he wants you to just turn around and acknowledge him. Why not get dinner with Simon? But someplace normal, like Uno's or Chili's. Simon will even pay for his half of the meal. Simon is a proud sponsor of Famous Podcast, and I am a proud acquaintance of Simon, whose last name I don't know. It looks like Debbie's back, and with a whole crate of Benadryl in her arms. You put that on your own card, right?
Yeah.
Good. Here you go, Eva. This should... Oh, man, Eva, slow down. That stuff packs a punch. Wow. Yeah, I mean, I guess it sort of tastes like candy if most of the candy you eat is really bad. Oh, no. Debbie, is the class already here? Well, can you tell them to wait? Whoa! No, what? Hey, come on! Oh, jeez. Yeah, folks, it turns out this is a self-help class for people whose marriages have been ruined after their spouses watched too much Desperate Housewives and were inspired to start their own affairs. So that makes things a little more complicated. Hey, don't throw stuff at Eva. She just played a character on the show. She's an actor. Debbie, go get a librarian to help calm them down, all right? God. Folks, while Debbie finds us some backup and Eva finishes off another couple bottles of Benadryl to really decimate that dust allergy, let's take some time to brainstorm what I need to do to make my boyfriend Sammy stop hating me with all the guts in his body. Listeners of last week's show may recall that I intended to confront Sammy about his hilarious but somewhat hurtful jokes about how much he doesn't like me. You'll be proud to hear that I told him how I felt, and he only sneered once or twice. He said he would try harder to not break my weak feelings. And honestly, that's all I needed to hear. Unfortunately, when God closes a door, he also closes other doors, because God hates doors. I've gone and started a whole nother mess with Sammy, and I don't know how to fix it. I know I've spoken in the past at length about Sammy's big, beautiful apartment in the nice part of town. I want to live with Sammy because I love him, and because my apartment is bad and wet and underground, and my roommate Rex likes to heat his knives on the stovetop. But more importantly, I want to live with Sammy because it would save us both a lot of money on rent. Money that I need to pay off various loans and debts and bills and loans. Yesterday, I broke one of our special relationship rules and made Sammy come to my apartment so he could see how wretchedly I live. I was hoping it would convince him to take me in, but he made a sad, sick face and walked away into the park at night, where I cannot go because of how closely it reflects my dream terrors. Since then, things have been tense. This is what the relationship psychologist I met on the bus calls a fight. But I would rather experience what the relationship psychologist who I met in a hotel elevator calls the honeymoon phase. So here's my plan. I want to do a big romantic gesture and go to Sammy's office and sneak past the security guard and bang on the glass wall of the meeting room while he's given a big important presentation. But I can't. Because the last time I did that, he punished me by registering my phone number as a robocaller until my service got disconnected by the FCC. So, obviously, the takeaway here is that I need a much, much bigger romantic gesture. I tried emailing Lady Gaga to see if she would serenade Sammy with her classic love song, Boys, 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 but apparently, she doesn't manage the Lady Gaga website herself. I bought a suit made of tulips, but those died pretty much immediately, so now it's just a suit made of wires, which is still pretty cool. I tried baking Sammy an apology cake, but I fell asleep while it was in the oven, and now my roommates have meetings about me in the bathroom. I think, ultimately, I need to follow my heart and just get down on my knees in the mud and hold my breath until Sammy takes me back. I'll be sure to let you know how it goes. But enough about me. It looks like Eva's finally feeling well enough to spill the tea on her fellow celebrities. So let's... Oh, Debbie, you idiot. You found the one librarian who hates my guts. No, listen, you're supposed to be on our side, alright? The class is the one who started this. And by the way... Oh my god. Oh my god, what? I do not steal books from the library. That is a lie. And also, if I did, you have no proof. Why would I need to steal a book called How to Be a Confident Virgin? Your logic makes no sense. Debbie, hold Eva back. Listen, unless you and your class want to get the crap kicked out of them by an Eva Longoria who's high as a kite on allergy meds, you had better step back. All right, I warned you. Eva, go kick ass. Oh, Jesus. Oh, God. Folks, I'm afraid we need to cut it a little short before the police arrive, but before I step in to stop Eva from beating this librarian to death, I just want to thank everyone who's supported Famous Podcast so far. If you like the show and love its host, then please consider going to patreon.com/famouspodcast and signing up for our special guest support tier to gain access to exclusive Patreon-only songs, posts, photos, and more. This week, Patreon subscribers can hear an extended demo of the listener question song I wrote for Dave. You can also follow us on Twitter at famous_podcast_. Visit famouspodcast.com for quality content, and if you see me on the street, please give me $5. Until then, I'll see you next week. Hold on. Eva, stop! She's already unconscious. Sorry. I'll see you next week right here on Famous Podcast. Debbie, I'm not going to blame you per se, but you definitely should have kept holding her back. Also, you never should have given her so much Benadryl. Oh, man. Alright, you know what? I'm gonna sneak underneath the table and try to get to the door. Why don't you cause a distraction? No, Eva, it's me! No, Eva, wait!